Hey there, welcome. Today I have kind of the continuation of my previous video where I will show you a flip through of my final Hobonichi weeks setup for 2022. I had to, on camera it's kind of hard to fine tune things because I have to stay away from the notebook. So after sitting down, flipping through, comparing with my bullet journal that I'm also setting up, I fine-tuned several things in here, and I want to show you what it looks like. So if you didn't see my setup video, I added this floral paper here in the front, and I have another design here in the back. In here I have my clear pocket. I have this clipping here for notes and to, not have this space just flying around. I added this from the pamphlet, the Hobonichi pamphlet, and I like how it looks because I don't really need a 2021 calendar. Then I have my monthlies. This is what they look like. I used the little tabs that come with the Hobonichi sneaker weeks because this particular Hobonichi expanded or Hobonichi weeks doesn't come with the ribbon bookmarks. It doesn't have the hardcover and how they attach them in the back of the in the spine in between the hardcover and the notebook. Because this is a soft cover and it goes all around, there's no space for that. So this particular Hobonichi Weeks comes with 3 tabs, clear tabs that you can remove and stick in different places. So I am using one for my monthly, one for my week, and one for my notes in the back. I'll show you as I flip through. So this is what my months look like. I have these sticky notes to mark things that I want to get done in this particular month, but these notes are mostly because there are still things that I'm not sure if I want to track in here or in my bullet journal. So I have the note and I'll see if this will be something to do in here or in my bullet journal. But yeah. I added this decoration because if you're familiar with Tomo River paper, it's very soft, kind of flimsy. So this washi tape gives it more, texture. Is easier to grab and to flip around. It adds more weight to the paper and makes it easier to handle. So, and it looks nice. So these are my months. I added also little details of washi tape when I know there will be special events. So this is not accidental or just this is meant to mean something. These are special dates. Also this and this. Okay, so this is what my week looks like. If you're familiar with the Hobonichi weeks, at the end of your monthlies for the year, you get 3 extra months for the following year. So, for example, this one is for 2021. It goes from December 2022 to December 2021, and it adds 3 months for 2022. So it has January, February, and March. And here they are. So here's the end of the year. And then it has January, February, and March. In my Hobonichi weeks, I never use these extra months because by this time, I already have my new planner. So what I did in here is I took the weeks from, I have another one of these that I'm using for kind of a catch-all place. And I figured, it's okay just to take out some of the weeks from November, paste them here. So this, here's the end, December 2022. This would have been January 2023, but I added one of the weeks of November, another week of November, and yeah. So I added the last weeks of November with a blank page for notes. So basically, I have kind of like a seamless transition from the last 3 weeks of November to where this planner actually starts. So this planner starts on November 29th, and it's basically the first week of December. This is where this planner and all Hobonichi week planner actually start. But since I wanted to start using it early, I figured I use the monthlies that from 2023 and add the last 3 weeks of November in here. And I'm super happy with that. So the way I'm using it, in the left column, I have main appointments or things related to my schedule. So this is a very quick view of how my schedule is going to go during the week with my job and things like that. Here I have kind of the main tasks of the day. This is not everything that I'm going to get done today, for example, but these are just main tasks that I want to get done and that I planned in advance a week ago. Here I have my focus for the week, the week's task that I will distribute throughout the days, and my shopping list. So here are the other 2 weeks of November. I may change my weekly layout. I'm kind of using these weeks to experiment and play around with what I would like to see in here, as I am using these particular Hobonichi weeks as my bullet journal companion. In the past, I have used the Hobonichi weeks as my work planner, as my social media planner, and I bought an extra one because it was really a whim purchase, but I don't regret it. I love it. Where I track I call it my 1% planner, where I track any progress towards my goals. That includes reading, art, self-care, things like that. So yeah, I have never used the Hobonichi weeks for my actual personal planning. So basically what I want with this planner is to see my week, plan out my week in here, kind of messy planning really. Be able to take this with me on my purse and have my bullet journal as a stay-at-home planner where I just dump everything else, everything that comes to my mind, a little bit of memory keeping, my meals, and everything else. So this is basically, and also I mentioned this in my previous video, this is meant to be kind of like the planner to rule them all. That's what I call it. Because I expect to go through maybe 3 to 4 bullet journals in the year. Each one of them has lasted me between 3 to 4 months. So I'm expecting to go through 3 to 4 bullet journals in 2022, and I want to be able to have my index for all my planning content in one place. That way I won't have to go through each bullet journal if I want to find a specific piece of information. I know that in here I have kind of an index of every planner I have, and it shouldn't be long. Like for example, in this one, like my indexes are not long because I don't index every single page, just chunks of pages and important information. So my idea is to have in here the index for each planner or bullet journal that I use, and having one notebook, kind of like a catalog of everything, every note I may have taken during the year, every important note, obviously, not everything. So yeah, so let me go back to the flip through. Okay, so these are the weeks for November. Like I mentioned, I'm still playing around with how I want to use this particular space. So those are my weeks. I added these tiny tabs. I think these ones are from Midori. I got them at JetPens, and I love that they are super tiny. They're not intrusive. I mean, and they look super cute. In the hardcover Hobonichi weeks, the cover actually protects the tabs, but the material is not frail or it can take some rough use, and I love how it looks. Okay, so those are my weeks, and then in the back, like I mentioned, I have the index for these Hobonichi weeks, the index for my first bullet journal of 2022, which is going to be this Galen leather, an index for my second bullet journal, and I left space for a fourth one and maybe extra notes. Then I have a contacts spread because I like to keep contacts in my planners. I know most people do that. I know most people like to do that on their phones, but when it comes to, my personal doctor, gynecologist, my son's pediatrician, the salon where I take a haircut, like those places that are not like personal family and friends contacts, I like just to have in my planner. That's just me. Then I have my self-care log. Here I'm going to transfer my notes for 2021, and this is for 2022. Basically, what I track in here is when was my last physical checkup, my last haircut, the last time I did my nails, last time I went to the dermatologist, things like that I like to know how often I do them in the year, and when was the last time I did them. So here I have at a glance the 2 years. In 2021, I had them both in my bullet journal, like so. So this is my side, my self-care log, and this is my son's self-care log. This year, here I'm going to have my personal self-care log, and I'm going to get the weekly Hobonichi weeks, like, those little booklets, like side notebooks. I'm going to have a separate one for everything related to my kid. Then I have my personal goals. So that's why this is covered. Here I have my goals for the year 2022, and then I break them down by month and by category. So I have health, everything related to my kid, my personal projects, and review. And I really like this format. I feel very comfortable doing it this way. It keeps me grounded, it keeps me on track. So I have the whole year like this, and then a year review. Then I have this space for brain dump and task dump. And here I have home, self-care, order, and keep things tidy. And I have the sticky notes. These are from Traveler's Notebook. I cut them down, and I have it in sticky notes. That way I won't have just go through several pages. I can just switch sticky notes as I use them, because I also have a space for this in my bullet journal here. So basically, space is for when I don't have my bullet journal at hand. For example, when I'm out and I need to make a note regarding something I want to get done in these categories. That way I can transfer it to my bullet journal. Then I have a list for movies I watched in the year. I think it's fun to see. This I do not because it's necessary to have, but rather because I do like seeing, like, oh yeah, I remember that movie, or yeah, that book was a good one, and see what I read. TV shows, this is a piece of vellum, and these are recommendations to read, movies and TV shows. And then my budget planning. My core budget planning, and one of the things I love the most about my personal bullet journal setup, takes place in my monthlies. So here in the back, budget. In the right column, I track fixed payments like cell phone bill, subscriptions, things like that. And on the left column, I divide first paycheck and second paycheck. That way I can plan throughout the months when is the best time to buy something or pay something without messing up my overall budget. And I think this is the most useful way I've found of planning and keeping track of my budget. I love it. So this is my monthly views, and I use them a lot. Like I already have in my current bullet journal. I do a lot of forward planning with my budget in this space. For example, when I think, oh, I want to buy these and I need to get these and I need to pay for this, I check what I have written down, and then I will go like, oh, maybe it's not the best time with this paycheck or this one. Maybe I'll have it planned for the first paycheck of February, you know? So doing this has been super useful for me, but I would like to see in one place all those little small expenses that are not necessarily planned, they just take place day to day. I have been tracking those in this pocket Moleskine, and I have been very consistent with that. I'm actually very proud of myself. And in here, basically, I just have bullet points of everything I pay, even if it was $1. Like I paid $1 for this, and I paid this for coffee, every single small expense. And I want to be able to have like my month at a glance, to know how much I spent in eating out, on cups of coffee, and I don't know, going out, and compared with my fixed expenses. I'm still figuring out a way that really works for me, because I have tried this before and failed miserably. But since I have been very consistent tracking my daily expenses in here for the last 3 months, I think it will be possible to have a monthly summary of how much I spent. I also want to be able to see month by month how I'm doing with my savings, things like that. That's why I have in pencil this, because I was sketching out how I may use each section and how I expect it to work. At the end of January, I will be able to tell how useful is this, and then maybe make adjustments for February, or copy this layout as it is, because hopefully it will work very well. I will get back to you on this. But basically here I have this space to have kind of like a summary of my month's expenses. Like I said, I'm figuring out the best way to do it and be consistent. So it's a work in progress. And I have space for January and February, and maybe March and April. Also, I left everything here in pencil because I don't know if I may need more space for my January budget notes. So this is all a trial, and I'll see how much space I actually end up needing for this, and then I'll do the rest of the months. But first I need to try this out in January to see how it goes. Then I have also a trial, this kind of weekly view, but with a timeline. If you follow my channel, you may know that I do like doing time blocking. I find it extremely useful to plan out my schedule, like so. And I love doing this, but since next year my first bullet journal is a Galen leather with blank paper, I do not feel like trying to do every single week hustling without a grid paper. So I thought I could use my Hobonichi Weeks Expanded for that, since I have plenty of room. And I'm expecting to use this space to track my 8 critical tasks for each day. I have been doing that in here, and this is what it looks like currently. I'm doing it in my pocket Moleskine. This one comes with me everywhere. I love it. I just love this little notebook. So I have day by day, and I have my 8 critical tasks. I will link the video in the description that inspired me to do this whole thing with the 8 critical tasks. I saw the video, I thought it was a great idea. I tried to apply it. The only difference is that in my case, I am keeping each task. I'm only writing down tasks that take 15 minutes. And it has been super useful to stay organized and, I don't know, feel more productive actually. So for example, I have do my bed in the morning, something as simple as that. Send an email, do laundry. So those little things that we don't actually plan out, or I don't actually plan out, but I don't want to forget doing because they keep my place, my surroundings nice and in order. And I don't know, it just makes me feel productive, even though they're very simple tasks. So I have, for example, I have this published video. The video was already done, and I was like, okay, publish it. Don't forget to publish it. Take out the trash. Prepare my overnight oats so I have my breakfast for the next day ready. Send a message to X and Y. Send an email. Very simple things. They don't take more than 15 minutes. They're actually, most of them, they're 5-minute tasks. I try to keep it 8 tasks because that forces you to stay ahead of the things you may have to do. I'm not always able to do the 8 tasks as you can see here and here, but keeping it 8 tasks forces you to stay ahead of the game, if that makes sense. So I try to do it. It's not possible every single day, especially very busy, hectic days. But I do try to do my 8 critical. In the video, they call them 8 critical tasks. In my case, because they're 15-minute tasks or 5-minute tasks. They're not actually critical. But yeah, I've been keeping track of them in here. And like I mentioned before, my daily expenses. Every little tiny expense, like $1 to any amount, I track it here day by day. I have been very consistent, and I don't know, it has helped me stay more organized with my budget, coincidentally actually, because I was just keeping track of things, but somehow writing it down, that makes me see I spent this much I have left in my card or in my account. That forces me to know how much is in my account every day, and I don't slide my card as mindlessly the next day, because I know how much I have left, and then how many days are left for my next paycheck, and what other expenses I have planned. It's easy to lose track of things. This is how I'm using this pocket Moleskine, and I'm thinking if it may be useful to do that in here, have a space for my 8 15-minute tasks, and then track my daily expenses in the bottom. But I'm still because I do like having this little it just feels so nice in my hand. I love it. Oof, love it. So yeah, if I end up deciding to use this space some other way, I just like being able to have this space in here. But yeah, I'm deciding how I want to use this space basically. So those are my weeklies, and then I have my daily notes. So I have some notes from Friday for this week, and also for this week, things I want to get done, my priorities, and basically I am loving this setup. This is my first Hobonichi Weeks Expanded, and I'm loving the sneaker weeks, how flexible it is, how it feels in my hands. I love it. I feel very comfortable and happy with this setup, and I'm already using it. Like at least, but right now I have a clear idea of which things I want to have in my bullet journal and which things I want to have in my Hobonichi weeks. So coincidentally, everything is green. It was not planned. The sneaker weeks comes in 2 colors, and I love this kind of neon green. And Gillian Leather has this one in brown and green, and I thought, the green looks interesting, I'll get that one. And it also happened with this one. Like, I saw the color options, I was like, yeah, the green looks nice. And instead, like, I just went with the green color with each one without thinking, oh, I want everything to be green. I will update you on any change that I do on my planning system. And if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below, and I will do my best to get back to you. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye bye.